Hello, Raleigh. This is Whitney for Raleigh, Whitney Hill. I want to talk today about something that is maybe not a real big deal with a lot of folks, but leaf pickup. Before I get into that, I do want to, and this is something that I don't believe the city's doing right. But I want to mention a couple of things real quick that they are doing right. They've raised the pay for police officers. So we're stopping this revolving door of police officers being trained by us and then ultimately moving out to other departments in the county and maybe even the state. And the second thing that they're doing right is they have implemented housing solutions for lower income folks. That I don't really agree with the way they did it. $60 million a year. I believe that there are ways that we could do this similar to the Nehemiah project up in New York so that people who need affordable housing can purchase it and get it through, through a program similar to Habitat for Humanity, where they actually get their own loans and get a fixed payment. But anyway, we're doing something about it. Anything is better than the growing tent communities that we've seen in Raleigh. But I want to talk about leaf pickup. And for a lot of folks, it's not a significant thing. For some folks, it is. So first of all, we live in the city of the Oaks. So people in Raleigh love their trees, and we encourage people to keep their trees, and businesses, and even to the point of having to have a certain amount of trees in parking lots and required, and fining businesses when they cut down trees without getting a permit, and those sorts of things. So what is generally expected here? We have had 2 leaf pickups a year. Now, me personally, I just this year have really couldn't believe what happened. Most people sort of start getting their leaves up around Thanksgiving, or if they're not doing it right along and they have a lot of leaves and put them out toward the street. And I did the same going into Thanksgiving, and my leaf pickup, I think the previous year may have been at Thanksgiving, and we're supposed to get 2 a year. So I did that, probably put some more out there at Christmas, and those leaves sat out there till really the end of January. And I finally got a leaf pickup, and they were sitting out there the whole time in a pile, and the city came by, picked them up. I was actually starting to put them in my trash barrel. And to tell you the truth, if I didn't have leaf pickup, I probably would have just put them in my barrel and been able to do that with a couple of barrel trips with the yard waste barrel. Because I don't have that many leaves. I'm not like a lot of people. I've got a certain amount in the front yard, and I got all natural area in the rest of the yard. But I did leave them out there, and we didn't get them all in the yard barrel, I think. But then the city came by and picked them up. That was my first leaf pickup, I think right around the end of January or first part of February. And then last week, of February, I got my second leaf pickup. Well, that was totally useless because no leaves have really come down since the 1st of February. So it wasn't even necessary. It was a waste. I had 2 leaf pickups within about 30 days of each other. Now, I realize it's not like that for everybody. I guess the question would be, why am I getting my first leaf pickup in the beginning of February and not over in December or something? That's hard for me to understand. But anyway, saying all this, I'm sure there's folks have the same type of frustrations as me. But saying all this, the city, I was just informed, I was at a CAC meeting, the Raleigh North one, and I don't know where really Megan Patton stands on this, so I don't want her to, sort of take the blame on this, but it's an overall city council thing. But it was communicated that the goal here is to go to no, first one leaf pickup and then no leaf pickups. For me personally, that's not a real big deal. I don't have so many leaves that a couple of yard waste barrels and I'm good. But I used to be in the landscape management maintenance business way back. We did a lot of properties that were in North Raleigh, and a lot of these yards were pretty big, anywhere up to like acre lots, and they tended to have a lot of trees, and you had to put the leaves somewhere. And we would typically put those on regular visits. We would blow the yards off and put them out to the front street. Well, I can tell you this, a lot of our clients, a lot of them, if you told us we had to put those in yard waste barrels, they'd need 30 yard waste barrels. I mean, that's the type of levels of leaves that they would have. And if you told us we had to mulch them, that would be a gigantic, big job that would be done. And we would have to charge them for that. It would be a pretty good charge on that. Okay. Now, I don't think it's such a big deal for those folks because they'll pay the charge if they're paying to have their yards done. But there's a lot of people who are doing their own yards, and you come in and tell them that they've got to have 30 trash barrels to get rid of their leaves. That's going to be a big problem. Where are those leaves going to be? Or they've got to mulch them. And frankly, there's just some folks who aren't going to do that. Now, one of the big problems with leaves is they get into the drainage system, clog it all up, and that's a big problem, which with the current situation of leaf pickup is a big problem because people put their leaves up a lot, they tend to put them out on the street. But whether they do or not, leaves are going to end up out on the street and going into our drainage system. So an efficient system for picking leaves up is pretty important. So the city, if they want to go to no leaf pickup, is really going to be doing more harm to our sewer system than they are by doing the leaf pickups. Because I can just tell you this, your average citizen out there is just not going to be purchasing a mulching machine and running out there and mulching their leaves a couple of times a month. That's just not going to happen. And so I know the city's been wanting to do this for a while, but here to me, putting that aside is the bigger problem. No one's seeing their taxes going down as far as their city taxes, yet services are being taken away. And, they got a good reason. They got to convert the trucks or whatever for this, and it's a big pain for them, and they don't want to spend the money on it. But the city has progressively, very aggressively, been raising our city taxes. And at the same time, they're taking away city services. Now, they just double it. They're going to double the size of the convention center downtown. And the center that we have right now is underutilized. Now, it costs money to operate, and they don't recoup the cost from what comes into town. But the hope is that these folks are going to utilize downtown businesses, and we're going to collect taxes off that and everything. But we're doubling the size of an underutilized convention center that we already have. And then the surprise gets unleashed to everyone, although it shouldn't have been a surprise, but most people aren't paying attention to this stuff, that, oh, yeah, well, where we're going to double the size is on the other side of the street there, where Red Hat is. And they're going to tell you that, oh, yeah, we told everyone that. And, well, people really didn't realize that until the process of building the second part of the new part of the Civic Center was already rolling. It was done, decision made, we're doing it. And oh, well, we could move Red Hat out, outside of town. And then it was, discovered that people want Red Hat in the downtown area because they want to be able to use the businesses, and that should be the goal of the Civic Center, is to bring people downtown to use the businesses. And they were going to move it out to Dick's Park or move it out somewhere. So now it got brought in, and I'm not going to get into all that controversy, but they found a place for it, in the next block. And that's causing some duress for some of the folks down there. They're going to lose access on the road and stuff. And I'm not going to get all that right now. But here's my point. Is you see your taxes go up and special interests getting things built, like doubling the size of an underutilized convention center, and Red Hat having to be rebuilt because they're doing that, because that's, we're going to have to pay for that. And then at the same time, the city's cutting back on services. I know this in District A, North Raleigh. There's a lot of people who really probably don't like to see that. They don't like seeing their taxes go up so that there can be more downtown activity. And I don't think anyone is against a civic center that's bringing revenue into Raleigh, but no one spreadsheeted this that I saw as to, okay, here's the tax revenues coming in that a civic center that's doubled in size is going to do. The assumption is, I guess, that we're going to use that, but we're not really fully utilizing the convention center that we've already got. So this to me is just really what I called is good time rock and roll. Yeah, let's get more activity in here, convention activity and stuff by doubling the size of the Civic Center. But someone's got to pay for that. And who pays for it? The regular city citizen out there ends up paying for most of it. And at this same time, they're taking away basic services by leaf collection that's, I dare say, could be done way, way better than it's being done now. I think what the city needs to do is to contract a company to come in and do it efficiently and keep it so people still have their leaf service. And in fact, I would say a pickup needs to be done at least once a month for everybody, just like your trash pickup is done. And you might say, well, gosh, that's going to cost extra money. Is it really? Most of the time with the leaf pickup is the time to vacuum the leaves off the street. If you had more visits, it's not going to cost that much more because they're going to be driving by most places. So that's just my view on it. I think it's a typical thing when decisions get made downtown that aren't really in the best interest of all the citizens. So prepare for them to make a second pass here on trying to take away your lease service. And I think that's, already in motion. I'd like to hear back from you what you think about that. But I think we're the city of the Oaks. I think most people who have large yards out in suburbia and even inside the Beltline would like to have their leaf pickup. I know there's some people are going to say, hey, yeah, I'll mulch my leaves. Well, that's great. Go mulch it. But we're used to having leaf pickup. I think it's a great service, and it's just not practical for people to have to go out there and mulch 30 trash barrels of leaves. My name's Whitney Hill, Whitney for Raleigh. I appreciate you watching this video. Please hit the like button if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more of these.